Well, supposedly, if you go into the bathroom and turn off the lights and chant Bloody Mary 3 times into the mirror, she appears.
Weird looking cat. Weird looking cat. Weird looking cat.
Boo! Did I scare you? Don't be afraid!
Don't be afraid! Don't be afraid!
Hello ladies and gentlemen and everyone watching. Today we are going to go over some of the scariest classic urban legends. Now these picks are my opinion, and as always my opinion is actual law, and if you don't follow it then I'm going to chop your head off. Not me personally, because that's gross.
Open his head! My family! Oh please, please don't! No, I have little ones to look after!
Go to his house and collect the little ones.
But yeah, you're just not allowed to have a differing opinion. Now before we fully jump into that, if you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, it's good to see you again. And if you're wondering why I don't have the decency to not wear a hoodie, well, it's cold, okay? Alright, if you're new here, I'll earn your subscription by the end of this video, and if I don't, then you're wrong.
We got 3 timeouts, E. I might use one right here, E.
Hey everyone, sorry for interrupting the video. This is not a sponsor. We recently hit 2,000 subscribers, and I just want to say thank you. And in fact, I actually got something to celebrate.
They're bombs. Oh.
Now, 2,000 might not seem that big. However, if you look at it from a certain angle, it's pretty big. I'm talking about subscribers, of course. But anyway, what I got to celebrate is this little cake. This is tiramisu. And this cost $8 dude. I should have looked at the tag, but I didn't. But anyway, I'll let you do the honors. Go ahead and blow it out. Blow it out. Blow it the fuck out! Alright, quick little thank you to the 2,000 of you guys who decided to subscribe. Let's get back into the video.
Boo!
Now let's get into what urban legends are for those who don't know. Which feels weird to say, but like I have to remember that there are people born after me, which I didn't think was allowed. So urban legends, in a brief summary, they're stories told from mouth to mouth. Not just like you and me talking, but like I'm talking about generations. It's passed down. These stories have stood the test of time. Some of these stories have been told thousands of years before us. Now with all that game of telephone, some of the stories are going to get mixed up. Just a little. Which means different iterations of the story. And it's not crazy outliers. It's going to be something like this is a haunted sandwich, and the sandwich was a BOT. And then in another story, it will be the sandwich was a meatball sub.
Hi, I'm Jared, the Subway guy.
I'm Chris Hansen.
But it was still haunted, and it still killed your grandpa. I think you get it. These stories can be weird, funny, dramatic, to even scary. And the latter is what we're going to be looking at today. Think of it as a modern day fairy tale, but one giant characteristic of an urban legend is that a lot of people actually believe in them. And while most urban legends, like 98% urban legends, are fake and are just completely made up or just based off of something that happened in real life, but the real life event was like nowhere near to what the story is, because that's what stories do. But that 2%, every once in a while, an urban legend rings to be true. Rings to be true. I hope that's the right way of saying it, because I'm not gonna say it a different way. Good luck editing me, you piece of... However, that 2% of urban legends that were actually true, that's an entire video in itself, and other YouTubers have made videos of those. However, I could also like suckle off that idea at one point, but that's not this video. Some of these urban legends, I'm just going to read the full story out to you, interjecting with my comedic wit and funny timing. Hardy har har. And with those type of stories, I'll try to add correlating footage, and if I find media that's directly linked to the urban legend, I'll have the title up here, but if I can't find that, I'll just find like creepy stock footage of a clown. Now with other urban legends in this video, they don't really have a story other than just explaining what they are, what they do, and how they originated, which I guess is their story, but it's not like a full-length story that you read. Timestamps are below if you know one of these urban legends by heart. It's gonna hurt my heart if you skip over me yapping, because my yapping's so important. Clown statue. A few years ago, there was a wealthy couple who had 2 young children. A boy and a girl. The family lived in a large house in Newport Beach, California. After taking care of their kids all week, the mother and father decided that they needed a break, so they booked a table for a dinner at a nice restaurant. That evening, they called a teenage girl they knew and arranged for her to come over and babysit their children while they were out. When the babysitter arrived, the parents told her to fix supper for the kids and put them to bed. After that, you can go watch TV and help yourself to anything in the fridge, said the father. That was the father voice. Get ready for the mother voice. And if you wouldn't mind, said the mother. You don't want to hear me do a lady's voice. It's just going to sound weird. The mother continued. And if you wouldn't mind, could you watch the TV in our bedroom? The kids have been having nightmares recently, so if you hear them crying, you can just go in there and calm them down. The babysitter happily agreed, and the parents left for their dinner date. They fucking. The girl gave the children some milk and cookies, then ushered them upstairs to bed. She started to read them a bedtime story, and before long, the little boy and girl were fast asleep. After tucking them in, she switched off the lights and went to watch TV. She turned on the TV.
What is your biggest turn on?
It may not mean nothing to y'all, but understand nothing.
When the babysitter walked into the parents' bedroom and sat down, she noticed that there was a creepy-looking clown statue standing in the corner of the room. She tried to ignore it, but it looked so eerie and disturbing that it sent a chill down her spine. She felt as though its eyes were staring straight at her while she watched TV. As time passed, the babysitter started to feel more and more uneasy about the clown statue. Whenever she glanced at it, she got the unsettling feeling that it had moved. Ever so slightly, the clown statue began to freak her out so much that she couldn't handle it any longer. She decided to go downstairs and phone the parents. When she dialed the number they had left for her, the mother answered. "Hi, it's me," said the babysitter. Wait, this is a different voice. Hello, it's Dmitri," said the babysitter. "Everything is fine. The kids are fast asleep in bed, but I was just wondering, would it be okay if I watch TV downstairs?" "Of course," replied the father. "But why? I know it sounds silly, but the clown statue is really creeping me out." "The clown statue?" asked the father. "Yeah, the clown statue in your bedroom." The girl replied. The phone went silent for a moment. "Listen to me carefully," said the father. "Take the children out and get out of the house. We will call the police. Go now." "What's wrong?" asked the girl. The father gulped and replied, "We don't have a clown statue." And then add the dun dun dun. Make it more spicy. For a second, the babysitter just stood there, stunned. Then she dropped the phone and raced upstairs and grabbed the children. Grabbing the children by their neck, she ran into the room with the clown statue and started using the kids as nunchucks and beating the shit out of the clown. Or if we go by the canon version, carrying one under each arm, she raced downstairs again and fled out onto the street. Huddled on the sidewalk, comforting the two children, the babysitter looked up at the window and saw something that made her scream out in horror. Peeking through the gap of the curtains was a white, painted face of a clown. It stared at her for a moment, then sank back into the darkness. Within minutes, the police arrived and cautiously entered the house. In the upstairs bedroom, they found a man dressed in a clown suit. When they arrested him, they found a knife concealed in his costume. The clown turned out to be a mentally disturbed midget. What the fuck? The clown, I'm gonna say that in a nicer way. I didn't know this. I thought this story was just a mentally disturbed man. The clown turned out to be a mentally disturbed little person who was a convicted murderer and a cold-blooded killer. The evil man had been stalking the family for months, lurking in their attic during the daytime and coming out to sneak around at the house at night. For weeks, the children had been complaining about the quote-unquote clown statue that stood in their room and just watched them sleep. But the parents just dismissed this as nightmares, because those are normal nightmares to have for children. Did you enjoy the story? Sorry for interjecting with all that bullshit. And I realized halfway through reading it that I was making it a lot less scary than I thought it was. My bad. But it's fine. The clown statue urban legend is based on another urban legend. This urban legend you actually probably know of. It's the babysitter and the man upstairs. However, that idea has been illustrated many different ways throughout all of media. A famous one is like, callers inside your home, you know, you better skedaddle.
The caller is in the house. The calls are coming from the house.
Now, as the case with most urban legends, and you'll soon see with the other examples, it's kind of hard to pinpoint the exact origin of this story. Not only because it came from a different urban legend, but on top of that, urban legends themselves, they're not always 100% based on something that happened in real life. The origin of the clown statue urban legend, aka the babysitter and the man upstairs urban legend, more specifically the latter, comes from a case in the 1950s from America, specifically Missouri. There's speculation that it's based around an unsolved murder case in 1950 in which 13-year-old Janet Christman was the victim. Again, I can't 100% say if this is where the babysitter and the man upstairs comes from, but she was a babysitter and she was murdered by someone speculated that she knew who was hiding in the house. We don't know if it was upstairs though, because it was 1950, and if you know anything about true crime or just crime in general, criminals got away a lot back then. If anyone has an idea if 13-year-old Janet Christman has any correlation with the urban legend, let me know down below. If I'm completely wrong, let me know and I'll probably pin it because I love being wrong. It's so fun.
Do you believe in ghosts?
Who you gonna call?
Oh, great heavens!
Kuchisake Onna. My apologies if I said that wrong. I watched many pronunciation videos, but a lot of the time it's from white people.
Kuchisake Onna is a vengeful ghost.
Otherwise known as the Slit-Mouthed Woman. Her story's origins are usually chalked up to 1 to 2 events. She was a beautiful lady no matter what, in both stories. In one of the stories, she was married to a skilled samurai. However, she had an affair on him. And luckily, the samurai husband didn't overreact or anything and do something crazy like mutilate his wife by cutting ear to ear in her mouth, making sure no one thinks she's beautiful again. And then she would die later after, either because of the Logan Paul video that he got banned for.
I think there's someone hanging right there.
Or because of her injuries. Either way, affair led to her getting slit, but also I think the samurai had some mental issues, and then she died. And then she came back as a haunted spirit to murder men. Which, that's a fair trade. Now, the other well-accepted origin is that she was still a beautiful lady, but when she went to go get a procedure done, either medical or dental, a jealous woman carved up her face and gave her the scars that are so famous. Either way, a beautiful lady died getting mutilated, and now she came back looking horrifying. Kuchisake Onna appears as herself. Well, as she did when she passed. So that means she's all mutilated and terrifying looking. However, usually she has something covering her mouth and her scars. Sometimes it's a scarf, sometimes it's a handkerchief, sometimes it's even one of those little hand fans. And when there isn't anything covering her mouth, we see the full brutality of what happened to her. But if you see that, you're probably not in a good predicament. Because in some iterations, she has some extremely sharp teeth, you're close to getting chomped on, and or she has some sort of blade with her, either a dagger or sometimes some scissors. Now, if you're unlucky enough to encounter her, it will most likely be at night, and she'll ask you, and again, this is a white man, American, dumb, me trying my best, Watashi Kirei, which she's wondering if you think she's beautiful. And if you're polite and not a dick, you'll say yes. Well, guess what, asshole, you're dead. Not right away though, so there's that. But what she'll do to you if you answer yes, is she'll take off the cover and show you her scars, and then she'll ask again, Cordemo, wondering if she still thinks she's beautiful. Now at this point, after seeing her scars, and if you're freaking out, well, you're dead. But if you say no, after seeing her scars, rude, then she'll give you a scar reminiscent of her own, which leads to you dying. Now you might be thinking, what if I just say yes? I'll still be spared then, right? You'll be spared until that night, and then she'll come to your house and brutally murder you. From what I read, it seems like the original Slit-Mouthed Woman dates back all the way to the Heian period, which was from 794 to 1185 AD. So this urban legend has been around for more than 1,000 years. Now this original version will not let you survive. Like if you say no when she asks if you think she's beautiful, like originally, she's gonna cut you in half. However, with this legend being so old, it being passed through time, there's been many different iterations of her that's been more commonly accepted throughout time. Like she still has the slit mouth, she's still her, everything about her is her. However, what's changed is that some men are able to confuse her with their answers that they give. So she'll be like, hey, am I beautiful? And I'll be like, hey, I'm blind. You want to kill a blind man, right? What is a ghost going to do to a blind person? So you can either confuse her with your answers, which will give you time to evade her, or by throwing candy at her, because apparently she loves candy. Kuchisake Onna is one of the most recognizable urban legends of all time. You might have not even known it was an urban legend. You might have just seen it on media, and then avoided looking it up for years because you were terrified of it. And then finally you were like, hey, what was that one thing about that lady with the slit mouth? And then you looked into it and it's like, oh, this is an actual urban legend that's been around for a century. She haunted me for years and so many others. And I'm wondering if you were a part of that. The licked hand, otherwise known as humans can lick too. A beautiful young girl is left home alone with only her dog to protect her. On the news that night, they announced there is a serial killer on the loose in that area. Before she goes to bed, she locks all the doors and tries to lock all the windows, but the one in the basement won't lock. She decides to leave it unlocked, but locks the basement door and goes to bed. I'm sure that won't have any consequence. Get the fuck out of here. Her dog takes its customary place under her bed. In the deep of night, she awakens to a dripping sound coming from her bathroom. Half awake, the girl feels the comforting lick from her dog and falls back to sleep. She reawakens to the dripping sound, reaches her hand down to her dog, where she feels the reassuring lick and falls back to sleep. Once more, she awakens to the dripping sound. She reaches her hand down and feels the lick of her dog. I find it weird when people just let their dogs lick them all over. If I see someone just allowing a dog to lick their face, and like sometimes I've seen people just like go like, mwah, mwah, mwah. Gross. You know where those tongues have been? I do. I've seen my dog. Well, he's dead now, but I've seen what he did with his tongue. He licked his own butt, dude. Now, curious about the dripping sound, she gets up and slowly walks towards the bathroom, the dripping sound getting louder as she approaches. She reaches the bathroom and turns on the light. She is greeted by a horrific sight. Hanging from the shower nozzle is her dog with its throat slit open. And why am I laughing? My shower nozzle is way too flimsy for... This must be a small dog. Hanging from the shower nozzle is her dog, with its throat slit open and its blood dripping into the bathtub. Something on the bathroom mirror catches her eye. She turns around, and written on the wall, in her dog's blood, are the words, "Humans can lick too." Now this urban legend, as well as most any urban legend, has some differing variations. The biggest one is either it's a young girl or it's an old lady. Either way, the urban legend plays on, scared single lady. And now again, as the case with most urban legends, the origin is kind of hard for me to find. With this tale, I could barely find anything. Even Wikipedia was like, hey, we don't know where the origin is from. Wikipedia is not a good source to use. It's just my last resort. Wikipedia's page says, this page only has the story. If you have the origin or history or context, please add it. Which isn't a good sign for me. However, what I did find, because I am literally Batman, put that cape and cowl on, yeah boy, is this story is presumed to be based off of a story or a diary entry from D.B. Martin. Now, D.B. Martin might not even be his real name, because I found another name which does have the initials of D.B., but nowhere in it did I find Martin. But regardless, in 1871, a man named Dearman Burchell, who wrote in his diary, which fellas, we can have those too, that late one night his wife begs him to check the house because she thought she heard burglars. He insisted that it was just the dog and it was nothing to be worried about, and he put his hand down and he felt the dog lick his hand, and then they went to bed. Go to sleep! Yet when Dearman and his wife woke up in the morning, and same with their dog, they realized that their valuables had been taken. And that is the end of the original story. We don't know if the burglar licked Dearman's hand. It'd be pretty weird if he did. Again, if you have any information on this origin, please let me know, because I'm really curious. And that, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone watching, are some of the scariest classic urban legends for me. If you enjoyed my rambling, the stories, or the history behind it, leaving a like really is appreciated. It helps out with the algorithm, it pushes the channel out, makes me smile, and we all have a good day because of it. And it only takes you 1 second, right? There are countless horrifying urban legends out there in the wild. And if you have any that you think are scarier than the ones I picked, let me know down below. Most of my videos are very vague topics that I can make more videos about, and this is one of them. So if you liked the video, if you have suggestions, and if you just, enjoyed it, I will make another one at some point. And finally, if you think I earned your subscription with all my talking, why, don't forget to hit the subscribe button gently so you can see more yapping about horror-oriented stuff next week. I'm thinking it's time to dip back into uncanny stuff, because we haven't talked about that in a while. Alright, well, I think that's it. I'll see you in a week, and good luck out there, soldier. Watch your back.
I know where you live.